All right, welcome one and all. Let's dive into today's lesson. As I sent in a little preview, we're diving into adjectives that are comparative and superlative as our last live session together to prepare for a good ending. All right, in today's class, we're going to be looking at these. Now, we're going to go through all of these, and I'm going to share some other links for you to practice as well. The goal is for you to be able to just use them as easily as possible. When we think about adjectives, we're basically talking about words that help us to describe nouns. Yes, Diane? Thanks. And as we describe words that are nouns, we can add degrees and intensity to them. Basically, things that we can apply levels of grades, whether it's a positive grade, a simple grade, a negative grade, an inferior or superior grade. All right. Now, adjectives are words that we have come to know as the words in front of the noun. For example, words like fast, hard, smart, pretty, clean, large, small, old, and easy. And we've also practiced some other opposites. In a sentence, they can go right next to the noun or they can go after the verb, ending the sentence. In these examples, they're after the verb. Right? Juan runs fast. Angela's room is clean. I am tall. New York is big. All of these are simply describing the nouns. Juan, room, the person, and the city. If we have two people or two rooms or two cities, then we would compare. And that's where we get into the comparative form. Now, comparative forms basically are, you know, looking at one thing with another. All right. So when we think of comparisons, the first thing what we're thinking of, two things and how we compare one with another. Now, let's dive in a little bit deeper to see how we can compare one thing with another. All right. I still see people joining the session. Well, let's get some practice in. Let's start with Andrea. Help us here, Andrea. Let's look at the imperative form. First of all, comparative in its basic form, superiority.
Comparison of superiority. In comparisons of superiority, the adjective, which is in the comparative form, see below, is followed by then.
Examples.
Juan runs faster than Mark. Angela's room is cleaner than Sue's. I am taller than Beth. New York is bigger than Los Angeles.
All right. Now, Juan and Mark are two people. Juan's velocity, as we see here, is superior to Mark's. So we use the ER ending, because we're talking about superiority here, to change our adjective into its comparative form. So remember, basic adjectives, comparative forms, ER. Now, there might be other ways of changing the comparatives based on the ending of the word or the sounds in the word. But the basic rule is comparatives are the ERs, mostly with our simple adjectives that have, only one or so syllables. Now, if it's inferiority, then it's not that this one is better than, we would go into a different direction. Let's look at comparisons of inferiority. All right, and this time let's go with Mitzi. Let me just go scroll down the screen a little bit more, Mitzi. Let's look at.
Yes, comparisons of inferiority to form this type of comparisons. We can use the conjunctions not as or less than in both cases. The adjective in the positive grade. Examples: Mark is not as fast as Juan. Uh, Sue's room is less clean than Angela's. Bed is not as tall as me. Los Angeles is not as big as New York.
All right. A lot of what we see here goes back to the first review. Fast, clean, tall, big. These describe. Now, since they are not better, we use negative forms to describe the inferiority. So we know less, we know not, help us when we're doing negation. So not as fast or less than. If they're on the same page, however, we do something similar. Let's look at equality when comparing two things. This time we'll go with Ulysses. Sometimes Brian forgets that he has two names.
Ah, yo. Es que yo también.
Go ahead, Brian.
Comparisons of equality. With the adjective in the positive grade, we use the conjunction as to form comparisons of equality. Mark is as fast as Juan. His room is as clean as Angela's. Beth is as tall as I am. Los Angeles is as big as New York.
Right? And that's because both of them are the same. All right, Sophia, remember to mute your mic if you're not speaking. When we have them on the same level, they're called similes. All right, so as, descriptive word, as the other, because they're here. So the first one is two, one is higher, one is lower. Second one is lower compared to the second one. And this third one, they're on the same level. These are our comparisons. All right, Sophia, make sure to mute your microphone if you're not participating. All right, now be super careful when you're using descriptive words. All right, other ways of modifying these descriptive words, first of all, here we can add a quantifier, right? We can add some sort of level to how different each one is. So we know one is faster, but is it only a small amount or is it a big amount? We have words like much, a lot, slightly. All these words help us describe the degree of the comparison between the two. All right? So to recap, when we're comparing, we are doing two items. The next set is for when we have a group of items. Now, if it's one of three, we use what we call the superlative form. Dalia, looks like you got pumped up into the list. Help us here with the superlative grade.
The superlative grade. denotes a quality at its highest degree and is formed using the article "the" in front of the superlative form of the adjective. See below. Examples: Juan is the fastest. Angela's room is the cleanest. I am the tallest. New York is the biggest city in the United States.
All right. In all of these cases, we have more than three items. All right. In a classroom, for example, Juan, Mark, John, we are comparing all three gentlemen. And one person has the highest velocity. So he becomes fastest. Room, cleanest. Person, tallest. City, the biggest. Notice that whenever we see the superlative, we are using also the definitive article, the. This one is the highest degree. Now, EST is the normal way we're going to be making our words superlative. Both for comparative and superlative, these changes are for the simple words, the one syllable or so words: fast, clean, tall, big. Now, what if the adjective has multiple syllables, or if the adjective has a different ending? These things you will consider as you make the changes, right? Also consider if the adjective is already in a possessive form, or if it's already comparing itself, then you don't need the article the, because the sentence implies that this person has a connection or is the same thing that is being spoken about. Smartest student, coldest month. All right. Now, if your word has one syllable, the basic form is ER or EST to make it either comparative, talk about two, or the best in the group if you're going with superlative. If it already has an E at the ending, like nice, all you need is the R to complete the ER or EST ending. So fast, one syllable, becomes faster. When describing the best in the group, the fastest. One syllable with a E ending, nice, becomes nicer. Or the nicest if you have multiple people in the group. Let me see what's going on in the waiting room. Now, if your word has a consonant sound, vowel sound, and consonant sound combination, like hot or big or fun, you will need to double the last consonant sound so that you'll hear it when you add the ER or EST. So fun is one of those complicated ones. We'll come back to see what we really do with it. Hot, double T, hotter, hotter, hottest, hottest. We also have big, bigger, two G's, biggest, two G's. All right. Now, if your word ends with a Y, change your Y to Y and add ER or EST if you are doing the superlative form. So if you think of comedian, funny, ha 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 ha. He is funnier than the other comedian. He is the funniest of all the comedians. Now, be very careful when your words have multiple syllables. If you have multiple syllables, you will need to use an additional word. You would go more beautiful If you're going in the superior comparison, or less beautiful if you're going in the inferior comparison, or as beautiful as if they're equal. If you are comparing one in a group, then you'd use the most for positive superlatives, and you use the least for inferior superlatives, right? So that course is the easiest course. That's normal. Change the Y. What about difficult? You can't say difficult test. No, it's the most difficult or the least difficult. Now, of course, irregularities. With English, you will have to try to remember the irregular adjectives, and this is just a few examples. Over here, there are also some other examples of irregular forms of adjectives in English. All right? And talking about over here, let's double back to the beginning and let's get everyone to practice a little bit. Remember, comparative, you have two. So whether it's two people, two things, two places, with superlatives, you have a group, one in the group. All right? If someone is still in that hasn't written their name or group in the chat, don't forget, full name and group in the chat for attendance. Let's go back to you, Andrea. Let's start off with comparatives and superlatives. Which one should we use here?
My brother is taller than me.
Good. Just two of you. Mitzi,
Yes, the
the
cheetah,
cheetah.
cheetah
Mhm.
is the faster animal in the world.
All right. In a group, we use superlatives. Between two, we use comparatives. What's a superlative option here?
Fastest.
Fastest. All right, because of all of the land animals, this one is the top fast animal. Right? Again, the cheetah is the fastest land animal in the world.
The cheetah is the fastest land animal in the world.
All right, and this will be a good clue, guys. If you're seeing examples that have the, you're more than likely going to be using superlative. All right, Brian, Ulysses, back to you.
She always has a smile on her face. She is the happiest person that I know.
Good. All right, let's continue with Dahlia.
Mm, the traffic is more slow today because of an accident on the highway.
All right, thinking is correct. However, you forgot about syllables. If it's a single syllable, you don't need more. You just need ER. Slow becomes slower. Right? Single syllable adjectives don't need more. Multiple syllable adjectives will use more, like more difficult, more contagious, more expensive. But slow is a single syllable word. Practice with me. The traffic is slower today because of the accident, comparing yesterday and today. Repeat.
Okay. The traffic is slower today because of an accident on the highway.
Good. All right. Let's go with Eduardo.
Yes, that is the highest mountain I have ever seen.
Exactly. Of all the mountains, that one is pretty tall. Jose Ivan,
She is the most beautiful woman in the world.
of all the women in the world, she is the hottest. Good job. Diego Iñaki.
Yes, uh, my brother is the laziest person that I know.
I hope you don't have a brother. I hope he's not listening. But yes, of all the people you know, superlative form of lazy is laziest. All right, let's go with Estefania.
Yes, teacher. She is better at mathematics than I am.
Indeed, comparing one with the other. All right, Evaristo.
Yes, teacher. San Pedro de Atacama is the driest desert in the world.
Of all the deserts in Chihuahua, in the Sahara, San Pedro says, no, 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 get out of my way. I am the driest. All right, superlative form again. Fernanda Baiza.
Yes, my wife is for um, intelligent than I will ever be.
All right, what do we need for multiple syllable words? More. Or
More intelligent.
more intelligent, because we don't add er to multiple syllable words. One more time. My wife is far more intelligent than I will ever be. And you should see her. She's smiling. She believes it's true. Practice with me. My wife
My
is.
my wife is far most intelligent than I
Mm,
will ever be.
all right. So more for multiple syllable comparative. Or less for comparatives in the inferior grade. Next one, Irving. Still with us, Irving? What happened to Mr. Flores? Mr. Flores disappeared? Says you're here, Mr. Flores.
Disculpe, no puedo ver la pantalla.
Good, all right. Now I know you're alive. Go ahead, Irving.
Ya, ya. Um,
Pregunta, Irving. ¿Qué estás comparando? ¿Qué entiendes de esa oración?
Mm, resultado.
Estás comparando resultados. Una, dos, varios resultados. Adelante, Irving. ¿Cuántos
Ah, bueno.
resultados?
Uno. O sea, dice que padre, padres result I have reside in the subject.
Ok. Recuerda de los irregulares. Bad. Bad es uno de los irregulares. Checámoslos. Bad, worse, worst. Repeat. Bad,
Bad,
worse,
worse,
worst.
worst.
Good. Entonces, aquí vamos a ocupar worst. That is the worst result I have received in this subject. Repeat.
That is the worst result I have received is in the subject.
Of all of the results you've ever done or gotten, this one is really, really bad. All right. Diane Garcia.
Yes, this car is slightly,
Lightly.
um, mm, more expensive than that car.
Good. One car, expensive. The other car, a little bit more expensive because expensive is a multiple syllable word. Next one, Joali Garcia.
The brain surgery was the um, more delicate ever performed by the surgeon.
All right. How many surgeries? One, two, many surgeries? What do you think?
One.
One of many. Ever performed tells us that he
Most,
he has done many surgeries. So of all the surgeries, this one was the
most delicate.
exactly. Repeat after me. The brain surgery was the most delicate ever performed by the surgeon.
The brain surgery was the most delicate ever performed by the surgeon.
Good. All right, let's continue with Nedeline Gomez Arisa.
Sí, doctor, perdón, no había prendido mi micrófono.
Mhm.
Asian food is in general mm, is, is spicier
Spicier.
than food from South America.
Good. All right. So one is spicy, the other is spicier. Shandy, next one.
The movie was
Longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, exactly. You had an initial idea and then a second idea. So just two. Longer. Let's go with Hannah.
Yes. Now she's the famous famousest actor in the world.
All right. Famous. Is that a single syllable? No, it's a tricky one. Most famous.
Most famous.
All right. Again, now she's the most famous actor in the world.
Now she's the most famous actor in the world.
Of all the actors, she stands out. Aisha, can you take my phone, please? There it is. Thank you. All right, let's continue with Luz.
Yes, I love that song. It is the better song I have heard in a long time.
All right. One song or just two songs?
Just one song.
All right, so that's the trick here. A lot of songs compared to one. So this song, she loves it. Of all of the songs that she heard in a long time, this one stands out. Good becomes better, becomes best. All right? It is the superlative of all of the good songs she has heard. Practice with me. I love that song.
I love that song. It's the best song I have heard in a long time.
All right. Let's continue with Hernandez Nunez.
Your father is more experienced than answering grammar
All right, one more time. More experience. Your microphone was a little low. Repeat.
Your father is more experienced than I at answering grammar problems.
All right. You probably need to check your microphone and turn it up or place it properly. All right, let's continue with Sofia Iturbe Mendoza.
Yes, teacher. The elephant is the heaviest land animal in the world.
Of all of the land animals, this one is a big one. Good. All right, let's do some from over here. And let's continue with Maria Fernanda. All right. Yeah, go ahead. All right, let's go with number one.
My mother is the oldest than my father.
All right. Two people or more than three people?
Two.
Okay, what do we use for two people? ER or EST?
ER.
ER. So which one do we need?
Older.
Older. My mother is?
Older than my father.
Good. All right. Mauricio, number two.
What is the funniest movie you have ever seen?
Of all the movies, which one made you laugh so hard? All right. Nicolas Morales.
Yes, teacher. Worstest?
All right. What do we know about worse? It comes from bad. And what do we know about bad? It's bad, worse, worst. Let's look at that example again. That movie was bad, but it wasn't
The worst?
the worst.
Worst?
All right. So bad, worse, worst. Worstest and baddest don't exist. Number 4. Ramirez Armendaris, Paula Fernanda.
Yes, Rachel's hair is not as longer as Sarah's.
All right. Not as long. Remember when you compare in the negative or equal, your adjective stays the same. Not as long as. Not as fast as. Practice one more time.
Yes, Rachel's hair is not as long as Sarah's.
All right. Ulises Antonio.
Yes, but yesterday exam was mm, more difficult than the one last month.
Correct. 2 exams, one was harder. And Cerillo.
Peter is as fast as Alex.
Exactly. Equal. Good guys. All right. So go on, practice. I'll let you know when I'll be having our in-person sessions. We won't have any more Saturday classes, or maybe I'll do a Saturday class, but in person as well. Let's see how the schedule goes and how the faculty uh, is prepared. And as you practice, remember each block has multiple activities. Upload new folders, upload your activities. Your goal is to finish everything. We're going to have an exam, so as soon as you feel ready, we'll have the exam 5 and 6 open and the final exam open so you can give them a try. Uh, Remember, as always with exams, use the reactives that will give you an instant response. And of course, if you have questions or doubts, just reach out, let me know. Stay safe, see you soon, and enjoy your Saturday.